Yeah, Michael, you're one of those guys just like me that grew up with all of it all the way through. You know, the PKA, the wrestlers, Bruiser Brody, Abdullah the Butcher. Oh my gosh, man, those are names from my childhood. And you know those cuts that Abdullah had over his head that they actually made with razor blades in pro wrestling that we took as real. I mean, that was the greatest. As far as PKA goes, I think it has some lessons for today's sports that people don't want to take very seriously, and I understand why, but let me put it out there. So, the sport itself will rise to the level of the athlete that's involved in it. And what am I saying with that? What I'm saying is when there's not a lot of money involved, right? When there's not a lot of fame or fortune or any of that stuff, it's going to attract a different type of person. And by the way, that was me during my kickboxing days. Like, I wouldn't say that any of the guys on the circuit that I was on were very good athletes, right? Like, rather, it was something someone did because they loved it. PKA karate was very similar. You know, like, you did it because you loved it. You didn't do it for fame and fortune because guess what? Back then, you could be the champion of the world, bad Brad Hefton, and you're still barely making enough to scrape by. So you're certainly not doing anything for money. One of the things nobody wants to talk about with modern MMA is the reality that some of the early guys may have not been as talented as we think they were in our mind. And why is that? It's because the money wasn't there to attract the best athletes. And I've often talked about the beginning of the John Jones era when like true athletes started coming in because finally there was enough money there to attract the true athletes. And when that era splits and divides and who belongs in which era is a question that like you really want to stay away from. Like obviously Randy Couture was an Olympic level wrestler, right? So that's elite sports, right? And then he took that into MMA, and as an Olympic level wrestler with, you know, a small amateur boxing pedigree, he was the top dog for a long time. You know, that having been said, Randy Couture's record was like 18-16. Like, people don't realize that. He had a very even record, you know, trying to fight in the heavyweight division with these monsters and other things like that. But I think now that's changed. Like, if you're getting into MMA now, like, people are good. Everybody's good. Local shows might be a little bit different, right? You're still getting more of the guys from the area rather than on a worldwide scale. But by the time you get into the UFC, you're talking about guys who are really competitive. It's why guys like Kron Gracie and stuff like that, that they're trying to bring in there that really aren't crossover guys that only have one strength, don't make it anymore. Like they can't do that. They get knocked out, right, very quickly because the guys that are there have certain natural talent that isn't about coaching or teaching or anything else. It's just simply you're born with it, and there it is. I don't want to name fighters who, you know, weren't born with it or were lucky by era because I don't think that matters. The only thing we can do is fight in our era against the people that are there, and that's it. There it is. Everybody like and follow for more on the Fight Game.